Well, forget about what Jesus would do. Tonight we're talking about what Jesus would buy. Christmas right around the corner. It's estimated Americans are going to be spending $474 billion this holiday season. Well, there are two men who want to change that mindset with their documentary called What Would Jesus Buy? Preaching to consumers all over the country, the Church of Stop Shopping and their leader, Reverend Billy, who's right here with us, takes viewers outside stores and inside malls, hoping to put an end to what they called mindless spending. And here's what happened at the Mall of America.
We are all ending up inside these super malls. These products are taking over our lives.
Could I just get up there? Well, there's part of the film. Welcome the film's director, Bob Vanelkamada, and the star of the documentary, Bill Talon. Good to see you both.
Thanks for having us.
I'll start with you because I probably destroyed your last name.
Oh, you did
pronouncing
just fine. It's Rob Vanelkamada, but Rob is great.
That wasn't bad. All right. Who came up with this idea in the first place?
This feature was a collaborative with Morgan Spurlock, director of Super Size Me. He
Super Size Me, the McDonald's movie.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And we all gathered together to save Christmas from the shopocalypse.
Shopocalypse. Explain what you mean by that.
That would be the end of the world from shopping.
You could end the world. Well, perhaps you could end the materialistic world by stopping to shop, but I don't think the whole world would collapse.
Well, we are in an emergency. We got 3 billion more souls on the way in the next 40 years. 60% of Americans are in long-term debt on their credit cards. We spent $100 billion on our cards for Christmas gifts the Christmas that we made this film. So we do feel that the shopocalypse is looming.
All right. Well, there are a number of ideas there, but was it you personally who started the idea of this movie, or was it the fact that we're just shopping too much?
The Church of Stop Shopping goes back 10 years. We started in Times Square trying to save the independent shops, the grills and barber shops that were getting pushed away by the big chain stores and big boxes coming in.
So it's an anti-Walmart,
Walmart's one of our devils.
I'm sure that they're one of your devils.
Of course, we exorcised the front door of Walmart headquarters in Bentonville. I don't know if we succeeded, Rob.
I think I saw the headquarters levitate for a few seconds.
What is it about? Well, I understand the issue about the workers not being treated as well as some people think they should be treated, even though a lot of folks line up to get those jobs. But, you know, they're providing lower-priced goods to people who are going to buy it elsewhere for more money, right?
Well, this is open to contention now and has been for years. The destruction of small towns, of local economies by Walmart. Whether they're actually creating prosperity or just moving things around is a subject of debate. I'm sure you've had that debate here on this show. But we love local economies. And we're trying to save Christmas from the shopocalypse by urging people to come back to the street they may live on.
But just one more point on that, on the Walmart phenomenon. There's something called economies of scale. If you know about economics, it means you can provide a lot more stuff at a lot cheaper price if you have a massive quantity of it in reserve, in a warehouse. That's what Walmart is. Why is that bad?
At what cost do we have a bigger and better
At a
Walmart?
Lower cost to the person who's buying it.
Is that the most important thing, or is it that you don't have cruelty associated with your Christmas gift, for example? That you don't hire children in very unsafe factories around the world to make sure that you get that bottom
That's we should mention. That's a part of this, the whole idea of the sweatshops. A lot of this, the stuff that we buy are built in awful conditions. But again, you got. I've been to a lot. I covered Latin America for 12 years. I've been to the places that existed before the sweatshops. Believe it or not, you guys, because you grew up in a very comfortable surrounding, the places before the sweatshops were even worse. That is, a sweatshop can actually be a step up for a lot of these people.
I've heard the argument that we've lifted them up. They'd be even worse off if we weren't hiring them.
I've seen it. I've seen where they came from. I've seen these kids who were working in sweatshops before there were sweatshops, picking through garbage and dying at the ages of 15.
I don't know if that's true in a lot of communities in the United States. Right now, lots of folks are arguing that our local economies have been damaged by the big boxes glowing on the horizon with their very cheap, yes,
sounds like The Simpsons, by the way.
There are sweatshop shows on The Simpsons.
That's right.
Yes,
that's exactly right. Simpsons points them out.
But we're urging people to, stand in your own doorway this Christmas and just you know, you might have the best gift right within walking distance.
You know, the point that I am in total agreement with you guys on is that we spend too much of our time focused on material goods in Christmas. And if that's the bottom line message, it's not a bad message.
Oh, that is the bottom line.
We're on the same team here. Change hallelujah all around.
Yeah.
Just let me mention, I don't feel that it should be a choice between, hey, we gave them those jobs so they're better than they used to be. We can do so much better than that as Americans. We can make sure that people not only have basic jobs, you know, instead of poverty and starvation, but we can make sure that they're going to live through those jobs.
All right, well, I'm going to watch the movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to go out and take a look at the movie. Maybe we can have you guys back after I see it. Would you come back?
I'd love to return.
Please do.
All right, thanks. Let's bring in Father Robert Sirico. He's co-founder of the Acton Institute. It's an institution dedicated to religion and free market economics. He joins us from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Good to see you, Father. Now, you wouldn't argue that Christmas has become too materialized. I mean, that you wouldn't take the counter-argument to that, would you?
Well, I think that every economic decision has a moral dimension. So, of course, people have to be prudent and discerning about what they buy and what they sell or what they invest in. But the way in which this is done is really a mockumentary. It is a mocking of people who are hardworking, people who want to buy things for their families. Let's remember that a great deal of what is going to be purchased at this time of the year is going to be given away as gifts to other people. Moreover, this is not only the highest income period of the year for businesses, it also is the highest income period of the year for nonprofits, and those two realities are related. Now, I'm not saying that people should buy blindly, and I'm not saying that people should become overly obsessed with the material world. But if we're talking about losing the meaning of Christmas, then I want to ask the producer and the basically the dancing minstrel, because I feel that this gentleman, Mr. Talon, who dresses like a preacher, has no theological background that I can see of, is like a black-faced minstrel and is insulting to those of us who have studied and dedicated our lives to preaching the gospel of Christ. Where is Christ in your message? If you're concerned about losing the meaning of Christmas, surely Jesus Christ is at the center of Christmas.
Well, you posed the question, Father. Let's ask. Bill?
We're supporters of Jesus. He threw the money changers out of the temple. That's what we're trying to do as well.
What does that mean, you're a supporter? Do you believe that he is the Savior of the world, that he is God among us, which is what Christmas is about?
Jesus is
You're
our
equivocating.
hope for change, the birth of a child that will grow up to teach us peace, the Prince of Peace. And that would be a wonderful gift for us to give each other this Christmas.
Who is God in human form?
Gift of peace.
In other words,
Father,
you really don't believe this. You don't believe this, do you?
I do.
Oh, is the minstrel dancing? I didn't catch that.
I'm also a supporter of this statement of the Holy Father, Benedict XVI,
yes,
who feels that commercialism has polluted Christmas. He made that famous
Well,
cyclical.
hold on, Father. Hold on. You're not conducting the interview. And let me throw it back to you. What about the comments of the Pope? In fact, Pope Benedict has said many times that Christmas has become a little too materialized, and our whole culture has. So you wouldn't disagree with that.
Of course I wouldn't disagree with it. But the question is, what is the difference between commercialism and buying things for other people or buying things? Surely this film required investors. Surely they're going to charge people to show the film and to attend the film. So this is a commercial enterprise itself, and I have a slight suspicion that this was calculated precisely for this time of the year, was it not?
Well, let me address that, Father.
Here's the director.
I do get the question, isn't it hypocritical to be selling me a movie about stopping my shopping? No, it's ironic. It's not hypocritical. We need to get the message out that you need to slow down your consumption.
But you're not giving all the money away.
We are not going to make our money back anytime soon, so I don't think that's an issue just yet.
But how do you eat? I mean, if you're not making any money, how do you eat? Are you hungry right now?
I am. Do you have a candy bar?
Do you have some food over here?
I'm $100,000 in debt on my credit cards from student loans as well. And,
you maxed out your credit cards to make the movie?
Not to make the film, just to get this far.
By the way, the producer,
did the
producer recoup his income from Super Size Me?
He did eventually, after putting up his own $60,000 and getting a lot of volunteer help.
But Father, you know, these guys, you know, made a movie. They're not making it for, it's not a nonprofit institution. They're making the movie in order to make money. There's nothing wrong with that.
Also to get that word out.
This is called entrepreneurship. This is called business. And you risk your money. In fact, our institute has just produced a film that really was the counterpart of this, The Call of the Entrepreneur, that talks about ethical engagement in business. You can look at that at acton.org.
Well, then we agree.
Absolutely.
Again,
but ours is a nonprofit organization.
All right, gentlemen, we got to leave it at that. Father Sirico, Bill Talon, and Rob, you pronounce your last